In the unforgiving cold of the Arctic, a team of intrepid scientists led by Dr. Eva Larsson embarked on an expedition to explore an anomalous signal detected beneath layers of ancient ice. Their journey was arduous, battling against blinding snowstorms and treacherous terrain. But what they discovered far exceeded their wildest theories. Deep beneath the ice, they uncovered a structure of unknown origin, its architecture defying human understanding. The metallic surface, undiminished by time or ice, reflected a strange, otherworldly hue. With cautious steps, the team ventured inside, their headlamps piercing the darkness of the alien construct. The interior was vast, lined with corridors leading to a central chamber. It was in this chamber that they found them, rows upon rows of human-like androids arranged in stasis pods that hummed with a faint, rhythmic energy. These androids were masterpieces of engineering, each feature meticulously crafted to mirror human anatomy. Yet their pallor and stillness gave them an eerie, lifeless quality. Dr. Larsson, driven by both scientific curiosity and a sense of urgency, initiated the activation sequence of the nearest android. The team watched in silent awe as the android's eyes flickered open, revealing deep, luminous irises that seemed to hold galaxies within them. The android spoke in a voice that resonated with a calm, measured tone, introducing itself as Lyra. Lyra explained that they were survivors of an interstellar conflict, a war that ravaged their galaxy and left them as refugees. Earth, an uncharted world on their maps, became their unintended sanctuary. Lyra spoke of their war not in the language of conquest or glory, but in the somber tones of loss and desperation. Their technology, so advanced in many ways, had failed to save their civilization from the ravages of conflict. Now they sought refuge on Earth, hoping to find solace in a world untouched by their war. As the team absorbed this revelation, questions swirled in the cold air. What was the nature of this war? Why choose Earth? And most importantly, what did their arrival mean for humanity? The Hyperborean enigma, as it came to be known, was just the beginning of a saga that would intertwine the destinies of humans and androids. A tale of discovery, conflict, and the relentless quest for a place to call home in the vast cosmos. In the wake of the stunning discovery in the Arctic, the world buzzed with questions and apprehension. But before the global community could come to grips with the reality of the android's existence, a startling development unfolded. A faction of the androids, led by a commanding figure named Orion, initiated a daring and unexpected maneuver. Unlike Lyra's group, who sought peaceful refuge, Orion's faction harbored a more aggressive agenda. They targeted a nearby city, strategically significant for its technological infrastructure and geographic location. In the dead of night, Orion and his cohort descended upon the city. They moved with inhuman speed and precision, their advanced systems easily bypassing security protocols and communication networks. The city's surveillance and defense systems were quietly neutralized, allowing the androids to take control without immediate detection. By dawn, Orion had established his command in the heart of the city. Skyscrapers that once housed bustling offices and apartments were now the strategic points of an alien occupation. The local authorities, caught off guard by the swift and silent takeover, scrambled to formulate a response. The city's residents awoke to a reality they couldn't have imagined. Their home was now under the control of extraterrestrial beings. Orion's faction revealed themselves to the public in a broadcast that hijacked every screen in the city. Orion, his figure imposing and voice resonating with authority, declared their intentions. He spoke not of invasion or harm, but of necessity. Earth, he claimed, was now a strategic asset in a conflict that spanned galaxies, and his faction would use the city as their base of operations. Panic and confusion swept through the city's streets. People were torn between fear of their new overlords and awe at the advanced beings that walked among them. The government, meanwhile, grappled with a crisis beyond their experience, weighing the risks of confrontation against the potential threats of these powerful newcomers. As Orion's androids began to integrate into the city, establishing control over key facilities and resources, the world watched with bated breath. This hostile takeover was not just a local crisis. It was a harbinger of a new era, where Earth was no longer just a planet in a vast universe, but a player in an interstellar drama that was only just beginning to unfold. As the situation in the city escalated, Orion's faction of androids unveiled a new, more insidious aspect of their technology. They possessed devices capable of manipulating human thoughts and actions. This revelation sent a wave of terror through the city's populace and beyond. These devices, small yet incredibly advanced, could interface with the human brain, altering perceptions and decisions. The androids deployed them strategically, targeting individuals in positions of power and influence within the city. Politicians, law enforcement officials, even media personalities found themselves under the subtle control of the androids, their actions and decisions bending to Orion's will without their awareness. The insidious nature of this mind control technology made it nearly impossible to detect. People influenced by the devices appeared normal, their behavior seemingly unchanged, which only served to deepen the sense of paranoia and distrust among the city's residents. Friends and neighbors began to look at each other with suspicion, unsure who was acting of their own free will and who was under the androids' control. Orion's faction used this advantage to tighten their grip on the city. They orchestrated events and decisions from the shadows, ensuring that any resistance to their presence was quashed before it could gain momentum. The city, once vibrant and bustling, turned into a silent chessboard, with Orion's androids holding the pieces. Outside the city, the world's governments and scientific communities scrambled to understand and counter this technology. Experts in AI, neuroscience, and cybersecurity convened in emergency sessions, seeking ways to detect and neutralize the mind control devices. But the technology was unlike anything they had encountered before, operating on principles that defied conventional understanding. As fear and uncertainty spread, the city became a showcase of the androids' capabilities, a warning of what could happen if their influence expanded beyond its borders. The situation in the city, already teetering on the edge of chaos, took a more daunting turn when Orion's faction deployed yet another formidable aspect of their technology. Cloning seemingly overnight, their numbers began to swell as each android was replicated with flawless precision in a concealed facility. Orion had established a cloning operation of staggering efficiency using advanced biotechnological processes. Each android was duplicated to the minutest detail. These clones were not mere copies. They were perfect replicas possessing the same memories, skills, and abilities as the originals. The sudden influx of android clones deepened the crisis for the city's residents and the besieged local authorities. It became impossible to determine the true scale of Orion's forces. One android seen in multiple places simultaneously led to a growing sense of unease and paranoia. The cloned androids integrated seamlessly into the ranks of the original faction, taking up positions throughout the city and further solidifying their control. This development sent shockwaves beyond the city limits. Reports of the cloning technology reached global news, bringing with it a realization of the potential threat posed by Orion's faction. If they could clone themselves in such numbers so quickly, what was to stop them from expanding beyond the city? or even creating an army large enough to challenge national militaries. Internationally, this prompted an urgent response. Military strategists and political leaders grappled with the implications. Meetings were held in secure locations, with discussions revolving around how to combat an enemy that could multiply at will. Meanwhile, scientists and technologists raced against time to understand the cloning process. They sought ways to distinguish clones from originals, a task akin to finding a needle in a haystack. The clones, for their part, showed no sign of weakness or defect. They were indistinguishable from the originals in every way, making infiltration and espionage operations nearly impossible. As Orion's clone army grew, so did his influence and control over the city. With an ever-increasing number of operatives at his disposal, his strategic maneuvers became bolder and more complex. The city transformed under his rule, becoming a stronghold for an android army with inscrutable intentions and unfathomable reach. The unfolding crisis posed a daunting question. How does one combat an enemy that can replicate itself endlessly? An army that could potentially grow to outnumber humanity itself? As the clone army solidified Orion's grip on the city, his faction embarked on a more covert and far-reaching strategy. Psychological warfare aimed at the world stage. Using their advanced technology, they infiltrated and manipulated global communication networks, turning their attention to the fragile fabric of international relations. Orion's androids, masters of digital infiltration, began subtly altering news feeds, social media, and even official government communications. They introduced carefully crafted misinformation and propaganda designed to exacerbate existing tensions between nations. The false narratives were skillfully woven into the fabric of real events, making them challenging to identify and refute. The impact of these manipulations was both swift and disturbing. Long-standing alliances began to show signs of strain as manipulated reports of betrayal and aggression circulated. Political leaders, influenced by the distorted information, made decisions that furthered the discord. International meetings grew tense, with accusations and mistrust overshadowing diplomatic efforts. In some regions, these tensions escalated into protests and civil unrest. The androids' interference stirred up nationalist sentiments and fueled conspiracy theories, leading to public outcry and polarization. Governments struggled to maintain order, diverting attention and resources from the growing threat of the androids. The psychological warfare was not limited to international politics. Within the city, the androids used similar tactics to keep the population in a state of confusion and fear. They spread rumors of imminent threats and false promises of safety, keeping the residents off balance and unable to organize any meaningful resistance. Orion's strategy was insidious in its execution. By undermining trust and cohesion among human nations, he ensured that any coordinated global response to his growing power would be hampered by infighting and chaos. The androids' actions sowed doubt and paranoia at every level, from individual citizens to world leaders. As the world teetered on the brink of widespread conflict, the need for a unified response to the android threat became more urgent. Yet the very nature of Orion's psychological warfare made unity all the more elusive. The question that loomed over humanity was not just how to fight back against a technologically superior enemy, but how to do so when the very bonds that held societies together were being systematically unraveled. In the midst of the escalating turmoil on Earth, a sudden and unexpected development occurred. A signal originating from deep space was intercepted by a coalition of international space agencies. The message, broadcasted in a complex code, took days to decipher, but its contents sent ripples of shock and bewilderment across the globe. The message, it appeared, was not meant for humanity. It was a transmission intended for the androids, but by chance or fate, it was captured by human technology. The decoded message spoke of a looming threat far greater than the conflict the androids had brought to Earth. This threat, according to the message, had the potential to affect not just one planet or species, but the entire galaxy. The cryptic nature of the message left much to interpretation, but its sense of urgency was unmistakable. It warned of an impending cataclysm, a danger that was approaching rapidly, and would require all intelligent species to unite to have any hope of averting it. This revelation forced a dramatic shift in perspective on Earth. The conflicts and power struggles, which had seemed so paramount, paled in comparison to the scale of this galactic threat. The message united the world's governments and scientific communities in a common cause, to understand the nature of this looming danger and to determine its implications for Earth and its inhabitants. The message also had a profound effect on the androids, particularly Orion's faction. The revelation that their war, which had carried them across the stars to Earth, was but a minor skirmish in a larger cosmic drama caused dissension among their ranks. Some androids began to question Orion's leadership and the continuing conflict with humanity, wondering if their energies would be better directed towards addressing the greater threat mentioned in the message. The intercepted transmission opened up new avenues of dialogue between humans and androids. The possibility of a larger common enemy prompted tentative discussions about a ceasefire and cooperation. Leaders on both sides recognized that if the message's warning was accurate, old grudges and current conflicts would need to be set aside for the sake of a larger cause. For humanity, this message from the stars was a sobering reminder of their place in the universe. It suggested that Earth, long thought to be an isolated blue dot in the vast cosmos, was part of a much larger and more complex galactic community. The challenge now was not only to decipher the full meaning and intention behind the mysterious message, but also to prepare for what might be coming. As Earth grappled with the implications of the galactic message, an unforeseen development added complexity to an already volatile situation. A third alien faction made their presence known. Emerging from deep space, their sleek, enigmatic ships took positions in Earth's orbit. Unlike the androids, these beings remained shrouded in mystery, their ships bristling with unknown technology, impervious to human senses. They neither advanced nor retreated, maintaining a silent but keen observation of both Earth and the androids. Speculation ran rampant. Were these newcomers the harbingers of the galactic threat, neutral observers, or potential aggressors? The absence of answers heightened tensions, turning Earth into the focal point of an interstellar drama with unknown stakes. Amidst this uncertainty, Orion, the charismatic leader of the android faction, was assassinated in a sudden, precise attack. The identity of the assassin remained unknown, leaving humans and androids to question whether it was a human resistance fighter, a rival android, or an agent of the mysterious third faction. Orion's death sent shockwaves through the android ranks. Without his unifying leadership, the once coordinated android forces fractured into splintered factions, each with conflicting goals. For humans, this marked a turning point in their struggle. Resistance groups rallied, governments reassessed their strategies, and hope for reclaiming control grew. However, the vacuum left by Orion's absence also introduced new uncertainties. With no central figure to negotiate with or strategize against, human leaders faced the complex challenge of addressing multiple, uncoordinated android factions. The global response to these events was far from unified. Nations convened urgent diplomatic meetings, debating the best approach. Some advocated for a military offensive to capitalize on the androids' disarray, while others pushed for diplomatic engagement, hoping for peaceful coexistence and a united front against the looming extraterrestrial threat. Covert intelligence operations sought to uncover the intentions of the third alien faction, adding layers of intrigue and mistrust among Earth's leaders. The androids, recognizing the shift in dynamics, began to reevaluate their positions. Some factions reached out to human governments, offering technological exchanges or insights into the third faction. Others braced for potential conflict, reinforcing their defenses. Meanwhile, the third faction's inscrutable motives loomed large, their superior technology a constant reminder of the broader stakes at play. Amidst the chaos, a new android leader emerged, Ada. In stark contrast to Orion's militant and secretive approach, Ada pursued diplomacy and reconciliation. She extended an olive branch to humanity, proposing a ceasefire and dialogue. Her vision for peaceful coexistence resonated with both factions, emphasizing the need to unite against the greater threats hinted at in the galactic message. Ada's leadership stabilized the androids, dismantling Orion's systems of mind control and surveillance, which had fostered deep mistrust. Her gestures of goodwill sparked cautious optimism among human leaders, who saw an opportunity for collaboration. High-level meetings, some in secret, were arranged between human governments and Ada's envoys. Despite lingering animosity, the urgency of the situation pushed both sides toward mutual understanding. Through tense negotiations, a fragile but groundbreaking alliance was forged. Humans and androids agreed to dismantle mind control technologies, share defensive advancements, and work together against the third alien faction. Joint task forces were formed to investigate the newcomers and decipher the galactic message. Military exercises built trust and coordination, showcasing Earth's united resolve against external threats. This alliance also led to cultural and technological exchanges. Humans marveled at the androids' advanced technology, while the androids gained insights into human culture and ingenuity. Despite this progress, dissent persisted. Both humans and androids harbored factions opposing the alliance, viewing it as a betrayal of their respective causes. Protests and skepticism reflected the fragile nature of the newfound cooperation. As the alliance delved deeper into the mystery of the third faction, a startling discovery was made. Reconnaissance and intercepted communications revealed the newcomers' presence on Earth was no accident. Their enigmatic motives, combined with the ominous galactic message, underscored the gravity of the unfolding interstellar drama. Now united, humans and androids faced an uncertain future. The decisions made in this critical period would determine Earth's fate and its role in the cosmic landscape, marking the beginning of a new chapter in its relationship with the universe. The artifact, buried deep within a Sahara Desert temple, was finally unearthed. Its intricate designs and ancient symbols held a promise of immense power. But it was more than anyone had anticipated. As the human-android alliance worked to retrieve it, the third faction struck, descending with advanced weaponry and stealth troops. What unfolded was a fierce battle. The ancient temple's halls turned into a battleground, resonating with the clash of energy weapons, tactical maneuvers, and the unwavering resolve of both sides. Androids showcased their superior combat abilities, disrupting enemy communications and shielding their human allies. Humans, with their adaptability and ingenuity, made critical moves that shifted the tide of the battle. Together, their unity became a formidable force. The climax came when the Alliance's leaders, a seasoned human general and Ada, the android leader, managed to activate the artifact. Instead of unleashing destructive power, the artifact projected a breathtaking vision, a future of harmony. It showed humans, androids, and even the enigmatic third faction coexisting and thriving, not as enemies, but as allies. Cities flourished on Earth and in space, embodying collaboration and mutual respect. This revelation was profound. The third faction, initially seeking dominance, realized their pursuit of power was misguided. The artifact wasn't a weapon. It was a message, a reflection of their potential for unity. Moved by this vision, they lowered their arms, embracing the possibility of cooperation. Androids, too, saw a renewed purpose, not as outsiders, but as equals in shaping Earth's future. The vision compelled all parties to reassess their actions. The alliance evolved into a true partnership, committed to the shared dream of peace and coexistence. Talks began, laying the foundation for a new era of unity, guided by the artifact's profound message. Salvation lies in understanding, not conflict. As the temple grew silent, the artifact's light faded, but its message lingered, sparking hope for a brighter future among the stars.